There's a war brewing right now in the 3D printer market, and they're all going against one king, and that's Bambu Lab. You have Anycubic with their recent Core XY Cobra printer. You have the Elegoo Centauri Carbon, which they asked reviewers specifically to compare it to the X1C from Bambu Lab. You also have the Artillery M1 Pro, which hasn't been released yet, but it's at $379, which has a lot of characteristics of the higher end Bambu Lab printers. You have Keedy as well with the 4 Plus, which looks like a great option. And then lastly, you have Creality, which I think has come the closest with the K2 Plus. Now, all of these in particular are taking shots at Bambu Lab. But you know what? Bambu Lab has remained on top, so let's talk about it. Currently, Bambu Lab has the reputation of being kind of like the Apple of the 3D printer market. You kind of pay for what you get. Like, it's going to work no matter what. And honestly, I think the same. The one Bambu Lab printer that I have has 950 hours. I've literally done no maintenance on it. Like, I currently don't want to buy any other printer on the market. I tried my best with the Centauri Carbon. You know, I've had a lot of bad luck with it if you're following my YouTube shorts, and I'll have a new review coming on that soon once we get it working. But as far as like my Bambu Lab printer, I've never had an issue with this thing. I recommended a P1S to someone at work and they were thrilled. Honestly, they've had no issues with their P1S. They've literally had like nothing they've had to troubleshoot with it. That thing just worked. Even with the P1S and the price hikes, honestly, right now my head is churning. Like, how can I afford to get one of these things? Now, Bambu Lab has had some shaky launches as far as their 3D printers. So when they were first coming out, I know the A1 had issues. I believe people mentioned that the Carbon had issues. I wasn't really looking at buying a Carbon at the time, so I'm not sure. But I know the A1 for sure had some issues when it first launched. I believe it was with the power supply or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember specifically, but I know there was issues with the A1 when it first launched. Also, people have some concerns with their software, but I'm strictly talking to the hobbyist that really isn't, too concerned about the software aspect. Maybe you are, then of course you're not going to be on board with the Bambu Lab policies and stuff. But as far as me and like ease of use, I think Bambu Lab is the best you can get as far as like their UI, how everything works, their app. The Elegoo Centauri Carbon doesn't even have an app. And you might hear a lot of references to that printer because that's the printer that I currently have. And I'm having some issues with it, which sparked this. Like, Bambu Lab is the best printer or printer company right now on the market. And so one thing that I saw in an Uncle Jesse video that I actually thought was pretty interesting and I completely agree with, as far as he was saying Bambu Lab is dominating the market as well, is that the 3D manufacturers, the 3D printing manufacturers are losing touch with their communities. I'm tired of buying a printer on launch, and I've only done this one time, and it doesn't work. Like, I am done. Like, there's part of me that never wants to buy a product again from them because of the experience I've had with this printer. Same thing goes with Creality before. I bought a CRS-10 Pro V2, and I think a lot of time has gone by since that printer, so I'm willing to forgive them. And I'm actually willing to potentially one day buy the K2 Plus. But I've seen that printer also has its like string of bad printers. Like, I know a lot of it they've ironed out, but this stuff shouldn't be stuff we're ironing out on launch. Now, going back, I know Bambu Lab has had some bad launches, but we're so far removed from those bad launches that they are now in a point where they're just dominating because people see their printers as reliable now. In order to like break up what you think of this Bambu like monopoly on manufacturing at this point is going on, you have to have a good launch. Like, for me to recommend a product over a Bambu product, it has to launch good, because if it doesn't launch good, I'm instantly like, my trust is kind of broken here. And maybe that's like a twofold thing where, or like hypocritical, because Bambu had a bad launch and now I'm saying, well, these people need a good launch. But that's just the way it is. Like, now that they've been established for like years on end, in order to break up my trust in what I know now is a good printer, you're going to have multiple years of really good printing, really good launches, like really good new updates. I just don't see that happening from a company. And even if it does, right? Let's just say the Artillery M1 Pro launches perfectly. Well, now they're going to need like 2 years of solid, like, backing on that printer for it to like disrupt the Bambu Lab like portion, because it has to build that trust. You have to build that trust with your community, and no manufacturer outside of Bambu Lab is doing that right now. Yes, they had like that weird software, like proprietary thing, and people were up in arms about it, so they put out a statement, but their printers still work. There was nothing that changes right now. As far as like their printer hardware, their printers are working. There's just so many manufacturers coming out with like no app. Like, come on. Like, how do you not have an app in 2025? Like, the Bamboo Handy app is perfect, but these are things you're missing on launch. There's like, if you can fix something with a software update right on launch, how did you not catch that before? I'm honestly just, again, I'm tired of people being okay with being the beta testers on these launches, and I think that's you're losing touch with your fan base, right? You're not doing well by your fan base by having them beta test your stuff. Like, to me, that's unacceptable. You're not taking the time, putting your product, testing your own product. You're making their most loyal customers beta test your product. Like, that's just not that's not acceptable anymore in this day and age, because again, we have better products available to us. Now, when 3D printing was kind of newer, and Bambu Lab was a new company. Again, they were a new company. That's why, like, I'm more willing to forgive them. Elegoo, Creality, Anycubic, they're no longer new. Like, these people have been the ones around for a really long time, and I'm done with the beta testing products. Like, I trust now with the H2D launch, it looks like it's been really good. I think Bambu Lab, anything they launch, I think I would buy it on launch now, because if it's in my wheelhouse to buy, I think I'm gonna buy it. Because at this point, I've seen them now launching a product. They fixed all the issues with the Bambu Lab A1, but none of them were like super groundbreaking. They were component based to where, like, hey, like, you could not print with this thing, and they did pretty quickly resolve it with the A1. But as far as these other companies, there's still outstanding issues with the Centauri Carbon that I don't think they're ever going to fix. And I'm hoping my printer doesn't become a paperweight, right? So I think that just overall, to sum up these thoughts real quick right here, is that they've just lost touch with their fan bases. They're treating us like, beta testers, and I don't know. It's just not a well-rounded out experience right now for product launch. There's a reason that when you're watching these print farm videos, that almost every single person, whether they're big or small, they have Bambu Lab printers. The most popular stuff that I see, it's either the Bambu Lab A1 or the P1S. You don't see people with really anything, maybe Prusa. I know a lot of people have some Prusas as well, but Bambu Lab is just king when it comes to the manufacturer or like mass producing, because these printers just work. And so if you're in the market for a 3D printer right now and you're not really sure, hey, is the Bambu Lab worth the money? Bambu Lab, to me, is king. Like, there's nothing better than just going to start your 3D printer and knowing you're gonna come out with a good print. Now, this is like just one of those things where with 3D printers, it's just like buying a car. I saw this comment on one of my shorts not too long ago, is one person is going to have a great experience, and maybe 99 people have a great experience, but there's always going to be someone who has a bad experience. And if that's you, like, I understand why you're steering away from Bambu Lab, being that one person. But I would encourage you to give Bambu Lab another chance, because these, I just don't know what else to say. Like, my experience, many others, you look at print farms, you look at like the history as far as people using them, the longevity, it's hard to be beat. So really the thing that started me wanting to make this video is that I am going through a lot of things with a 3D printer right now, right? It's not working. It's not a Bambu Lab. Let me tell you that. But if you guys want to follow my shorts, you can tell what printer it is. But really what sparked this is that I went to look at the manufacturer website, and I looked to see if there were replacement parts just readily available. And there was nothing. Like, if the belt fails, I can't go to the manufacturer website and buy a belt. I can't buy a motor. I can't buy a new camera. I can't buy a new fan. That's all different when it comes to Bambu Lab. You can go to the Bambu Lab website, and they have almost everything you could possibly need as far as making sure your printer works. So if you need a new belt, you can buy it, right? If you need a new nozzle, if you need anything, like nozzles, I guess, are one of those that is in stock at pretty much any manufacturer, except for one. Well, now it is, but as far as everything else, they have new doors. They have, I'm just trying to think of everything. They have belts, doors, motors, motherboards, like everything you could possibly need and anything that would go wrong, heating elements for your bed, they have a replacement. So even when you're out of that warranty, the parts are readily available. You can replace anything you want. And it's relatively cheap. It only costs $7 to ship it, not 15. Anyway, but as far as like, just daily maintenance, it gives you the ability to make your printer last a lifetime for the most part, right? I think that's extremely important because if you're someone who just wants to pump out parts, you don't want to worry about like, is this printer going to go bad? I'm going to have to pay the full cost of another printer, right? Like you just want a printer that works. I can repair it, if it has simple repairs. Like I think it's so important, and Bambu Lab is just doing that perfectly, right? You can buy anything you need to get your printer up and working again. You don't need to go through customer support, wait overnight for a response for them to ship you your product. Like everything is right there and available on their website. Anyway, I've been rambling too long, and if you've watched this far in the video, I truly appreciate you. This wasn't meant to be like ill will towards any company. I'm just frustrated, and I had a lot on my mind as far as like my experience recently with buying a printer on launch. Going forward, I'm going to buy proven products, right? I just don't trust manufacturers anymore to give me a good product on launch. Outside of Bambu, honestly, I think the H2D launch has been really good for them so far. I haven't seen any major issues, but maybe that's because I'm not in their group. So actually right after this, I'm going to go join their groups and see what I, can find with that, because honestly, it looks like a really good printer. And I think my next Bambu Lab printer is going to be the P1S. We'll see. That's just my next printer as well. Like, again, like that's just my feelings in this moment. I'm open, I'm raw, I'm honest with you guys. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe on the video. Let me know, again, open that discussion. What do you guys think? Are you tired of being a beta tester for these manufacturers? Again, let me know. Keep it civil. I will block you, and see you later.